This is it's a response to Tommy from the Bronx, basically, but you know, it's a subject that's sort of interesting. You know, I plan on doing more videos on the legal system. I mean, it's part of one of my solutions videos because you know, it's the whole system is a big sham. So let me just start off by your offer of you know, your cousin Vinny to explain the legal system to me. You know, that would be great. You know, I've actually, you know, in other places offered a $10,000 bounty, you know, to any law professor associated with a university in this country to write a paper explaining how I was wrong on the law in my tobacco case. And you know, because it's impossible for him to do that without completely blowing his reputation up. I mean, you know, they're tenured, but, you know, they really can't, you know, they do something completely preposterous. The university isn't going to want them affiliated with their university, because it can't be done. And for your cousin Vinny, your Vinny, if he's a member of the Bar Association, I'm willing to offer, let's say, $5,000. I mean, I'm not a rich man, but I'm willing to offer him $5,000 to say I was wrong and the judge wasn't completely out of line, completely broke the court rules. If he can say those things and take a polygraph test and pass it, okay, I'll give him $5,000. All right? So let's go see if your cousin Vinny can do that, if he's willing to do that. For 5,000 easy bucks, all he has to do is sit for, you know, 20 minutes, take a polygraph test after saying that I should have lost my cases under the law. If the law had been obeyed, I should have lost. Because I never lost a case on the law. I lost it on preposterous nonsense. Judges completely violating their own court rules. Absolutely no due process at all. Unprecedented abuse of legal technicalities. Because the judicial system, the judges have, you see, they've given themselves all immunity. They are now immune sovereigns, and they've even rewritten the 11th Amendment to give sovereignty to almost every government official there is. So they've basically given themselves all immunity. They can't be sued. And it's not even that they can't be sued for mistakes and things. I mean, that would sort of make sense. You don't want judges being sued every other day. No, but they can't even be sued when they do something malicious. Malicious. They can maliciously violate your constitutional rights on purpose, deliberately, willfully, knowingly violate your constitutional rights, and you can't sue them. You can't make them accountable for that behavior. Nothing. No penalty whatsoever. And it's just idiotic. Every judge in the United States should be forced to take a polygraph every year, verifying that they have not violated any citizen's constitutional rights. It is absolutely bullshit to give these assholes the power they have. Because if they don't like your face, they don't like your words, they don't like your attitude, they can do anything they want to you. They have unlimited power to destroy your life. Okay, so that's enough on the legal system. Let's get to your specific points. Now, you can certainly be countersued in a legal case, okay? But that's a little different than being sued after the fact. It's no longer a countersuit then, okay? After you lose the case, then it is a new suit. It is a new legal action. And, you know, if you can lose a slander case without being in any jeopardy for being sued for slander, as long as you haven't lied, you dumb fuck. I mean, if you're stupid enough to base your case on lies, yes, then you can be sued. So if you want to point to my lies, the lies that have put me in jeopardy, I would appreciate that. That would be constructive advice. You see, you know, there's this word, constructive advice. But there's nothing constructive in telling me I should worry about a crime I haven't committed. You know, I can accuse somebody else of in court of committing murder, but they can't countersue me for murder unless I have murdered someone. I know slander is hard to prove, no doubt about it. But the great thing about civil court is that the polygraphs are acceptable. It can be presented as evidence in a civil case. And you know, the thing is that, you know, most people who
or accusing somebody else of lying or themselves lying, so no one's ever really used that ability. But I would be quite comfortable doing that, and you know, I think it'd be persuasive evidence to the average juror, you know, who passed and who failed the lie detector test. To my original $10,000 bet, I mean, in one of your videos you do accept the challenge, and if you're still serious about that, you know, we can figure out, make a contract, make arrangements, because yeah, you know, I'm comfortable with that. I don't think this is ever going to get to court, because YouTube is going to do what it has to do. So this is all moot conversation, but we'll see. Let's open this door of examining somebody in this illegitimate personal way. You know, it just keeps growing. And once it's out there, it's almost impossible to pull it back out again. It's almost impossible to extract lies out of the environment.
So, and then you make the comment, how do we know you aren't the one who posted the, you know, dropped the docs? But yeah, I guess you don't know it, but I mean, logically, I mean, what, I dropped the docs, caused all this controversy, so I could intentionally block 1,500 potential subscribers? Is that that was my evil plan? Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's a very preposterous accusation. I mean, you have to admit that's really, really silly. But anyway, and then, you know, you swore that you didn't do it, but you unfortunately didn't swear that you don't know who did it. You see, that's the important question. I haven't accused any one of you jackasses of doing it. Not anywhere. I've just suggested that I think you might know. That's what I've suggested. Again, you really have to be found guilty of filing a frivolous lawsuit for anybody else to file a claim for the inconvenience of the lawsuit. I mean, you really, and it's a marginal thing anyway. I mean, years ago, you know, the court's always examining itself, and so yeah, when they were still rational back in the 70s, it was sort of the dominant opinion among justices that you really can't go in that direction, because once you start doing that, you're going to discourage people from filing lawsuits if you're going to put them at jeopardy, because it's always going to be an interpretation whether the person really understood that what they were doing was frivolous. And, you know, but now it's a different environment, of course. Like I said, and the judges have all given themselves immunity, so they're a little more comfortable in discouraging people from filing lawsuits, because they don't want to work either anyway. I mean, most cases end up getting settled. That's why the law is so ambiguous. That's why they have, you know, this ACMA or whatever the hell it is, this Digital Millennium Copyright Act. They have all this bullshit. They have all this nonsense out there, and guess what? They don't have any case law telling people what the fuck it means, what you can do or what you can't do. And that's how useless the judiciary has become. I mean, you can't get a settled resolution of any friggin', I mean, a real resolution of any case, because the lawyers engineer a settlement so they make money. You know, the clients all get fucked, the person getting sued gets fucked, and the lawyers get rich, because that's what judges are protecting, is lawyers, because they're basically the king of the union. They're the union bosses, essentially, and they're protecting their union. But it is discouraging, because it's like copyright law. There's so little case law out there. I mean, it's almost non-existent. And without case law, without judges actually making decisions in real-world cases, you don't have any law. The law doesn't mean anything. And so everybody is just overreacting in one direction, overreacting in another direction. And, you know, and it's, you know, so you can gripe at me all you want and all the rest of this crap. But you're not going to, you know, I've done my research. I know what the fuck I'm talking about on this subject. And like I said, if your cousin Vinny wants to make some quick money, and he can take a polygraph test, and I'll give, you know, the cases are online, he can read them over, and if he can say that, you know, and pass a polygraph, that the Constitution and the rules of the court were obeyed by the judges in my cases, then $5,000 is his. So, you know, let's all put our money where our mouth is, so to speak. Let's all prove our integrity here, and I certainly can defend the integrity of the lawsuits I filed. I filed lawsuits against criminals. And unfortunately, they're in the hands of judicial criminals. But, you know, I'm not done yet either. The fat lady hasn't sung, so to speak, on all my legal cases. But I'll just say, I mean, you seem like a regular guy. Cigarettes are taxed at 1,000%, okay? Most taxed substance on the face of the earth. Alcohol is probably taxed at about, I don't know, 10%, 20%. So it's 1,000% for cigarettes, maybe 10 or 20% for alcohol. What do you think about that? You seem like a guy who'd probably really hate paying a bunch of usury tax. Do you think the Constitution of the United States permits using the tax code to control human behavior? I mean, because realistically, couldn't the abortion nuts who have majorities in the Congress and the Senate, couldn't they just pass a tax law? Couldn't they just make abortion, couldn't they just tax it at $5,000 and make it inaccessible to any poor person? Because that's mostly who has abortions. I mean, the rich will never be stopped by the law because they can just go somewhere else to have an abortion. The only thing the law will ever stop is the poor people. And they can guarantee it by just making it too expensive. And so is that the, grand America? You don't see any problem there? You think that was a frivolous lawsuit, asshole? No, it wasn't frivolous. I was defending people's rights. Cigarette smokers like atheists don't have any representation in the fucking government. And your asshole Klan isn't going to change that. But an organization of atheists might be able to change that. Because then we'd have power. Power to extort these motherfuckers, these Christians and the rest of them, to mind their own fucking business.